Well, they've all been huge and they've all been tough, and we're finding ourselves 6 and 7. So we've every side we've played, we've been competitive. We've got to be better for longer, and that's what we try to do. I don't. There's not a ladder in our mind. We don't deal with the AFL ladder, and we know that's. It's interesting. I said to the play group, and I'm not trying to. This is just take it the way it is. I said, who reads the papers? And there would have been probably half a dozen hands went up from basically the kids. And I said, well, what about this ladder? And the AFL ladder's on this side and our ladder's on this side, made up of a lot of bits and pieces. And this is what they look at. They don't look at that ladder. So that's round 23 that we say we're in or out. And realistically, what we'd like to say is that as we draw closer to round 23, we want to be in control of our own destiny. There's a loss this weekend, or this Friday, we're without our own destiny. Well, clearly with the number of games to play, we've still got... So it's a meaningless answer to a question that is quite irrelevant. Well, our match committee will meet again and we'll take on board everything that everyone has said and we'll make a decision.
Did he train fully today?
No.
So not able to do contact work or...?
No. We've got a regime for every player on the final training day, and he meets a certain requirement, and as do other players. Sarah, we'll just have to see what the medical staff say today. He's trained today, and he played last week. I think a player, the way he is, that he'll be very much considered for a game. It's a massive gap between first and seconds. There's no question about that, and I think that gap can be unrealistic for players to only play 1 or 2 games and come in, particularly if they're young, because you really need to see them play. What you have to do in those circumstances is to find like for instance, Nick Graham is on the cusp of either he could be named, and he might have to wait another week. But every week that he's played back, we've tried to find a senior player for him, because that's the only measuring tool we've got to see whether he's up to it. And also, can he stay up with that player who has played senior football? Because at the moment, you can't measure your player against a second side. Karatse's situation is we know he can play senior football. So it makes it a lot easier when he plays a game of footy, because he knows how to navigate the ground, so to speak, at AFL level. Yeah, it didn't help in round 2. It's the same difference. I think they've probably got... I haven't done a count, but I'd be surprised that there's not close to 50% change in personnel. I certainly haven't coached Hudson, if he plays. Jolly, yes. There's Kennedy and Martin and Dwyer and Elliott. They're all blokes that are all new to me. So, no, it doesn't take long for a side to change. And I haven't been at the club for a couple of years, so that it's more to look at recent history than worry about whether you're familiar with their game style and so forth, or the individual. Right now they've played 14, 15 games, whatever it is, and they've played well enough to be in the 8. So that's what we take in consideration. And we also go back to round 2. There's no question we go back there and have a look at, did we do things right and what did we do wrong? We led it through quarter time and lost the game. How did we lose the game? What's changed from round 2 to round what are we entering? 14, is it? 15, whatever it is. So we look at that and say, well, have the sides changed, 1 in personnel and 2 in tactics? And I would say we certainly have. And I'm be surprised if Collingwood haven't changed.
You spoke firmly, though, I think it was here, about your personal anticipation of playing them in round 2.
So it must be 15, because I remember saying round 15, so it must have gone to 15, yeah.
So is that worn off since?
Oh, of course it has. And that was good for the Carlton crowd. Let's not get too caught up in that. I mean, if we don't read the play too well, I say the play's about tactics, and you guys should learn them. Is understand the tactics, but also play the game. And let's play the game, eh? Let's not be too caught up in what people say at a social event a month before the games. For goodness sake. We've improved since round one. I'm not going to take into consideration last year. That'd be unfair. It'd be unfair to Brett Ratton. It'd be unfair to the football club. It's what we've done since last year. And if I look at round 1, 2, and perhaps even into maybe 3 or 4, the game plan I come across with, which I thought was and should have been implemented, has been modified. Because that game plan that was introduced to Collingwood's so-called press in 2010, don't think for one moment that I woke up in January in 2010 and thought, this is the way we're going to play. That took 4 years. I still know the time in 2007 when I sat with one coach and one fitness coordinator and said, this is going to change. So it took 7, 8, 9. It took 3 years going into 2010. I've come here and thinking, well, that game's been out there for a little while now, but reality was, this club wasn't ready for it. The player group wasn't ready for it. And one of the things I've said before is, if you're going to be pig-headed about life, you don't go too far, because pig-headedness is technically about yourself, because you've got it right, and they've got to change for me. I look at it and go, no, I've got to change for them, because the capabilities of those players playing the same way as Collingwood did is different. Whereas Carlton have got certain strengths. And I say from round 1, 2, 3 and perhaps 4, we made a subtle change, and we've changed again. And now we are very, very satisfied where we're at. So from round 1 to now, we are a better side. We are more advanced in a lot of areas, but we're still not knocking over the best sides. And what we've got to do is keep experimenting with players, bringing players in. We played 35. If it means bringing in the 36th, 7th and 8th to make us better, that's what we'll do. So that we become more efficient in the way we play, so we can actually win those games. But we are better in percentage terms. I can't say. It varies between probably 7.5 and 12.5. Somewhere in between there, I reckon we're a better side. So up to 1/8 better in a lot of the things we do. So does that account for last year's, I think, similarities in the ladder? Well, I can't be held for that one. It's like when I took over Collingwood, they finished bottom. Second year we finished second bottom. Did we improve? We improved dramatically in the second year. We won double the number of games, introduced new players, and 2 years away from a grand final. Are we 2 years away from a grand final? I'm not a soothsayer. But we are better placed, better performed, and have a very good comprehension of the game and a far more confident appreciation of the game. Didn't help us 2 weeks ago. Bring things in, bring them in the beginning of the year. Grow up, don't knee-jerk, and don't find out that there's something available at round 15 when it was available round 1.
But at least they're bringing it in though, because, okay, might be late, but at least they're bringing
Don't make excuses for the AFL. There's already enough excuses. Well, you'll have to wait and see. I'm not declaring the side. Please, don't ask me the side. It's not out until 6:30 tonight. It should be. It should be out mid-afternoon because we play tomorrow night, but that's the rules of the AFL, which gives everyone a chance to see what it is, but that's the rules, and they are the rules, and that's what we'll abide by. I don't think Collingwood can be exposed with pace. I think they're one of the quickest side in the comp. I wouldn't call Collingwood a slow side by any stretch of the imagination. With an organisation that is that big and that many people, it's a conglomerate that's stuck down at Docklands, it's that big, and they're going to wait until round 15 to discover that there's some mechanism that actually gets it right? Turn it up. Not about part of the furniture. I feel very, very comfortable sitting in their furniture, but not part of the furniture, no.
You're a Carlton at heart now.
I don't get where's this is coming from. Where's this coming from?
Well, a lot of people align themselves with the club. You've come from Collingwood, you've had a whole history there. You've come from the Eagles, you've had a history there. Now you're at Carlton. Do you feel like you're a part of this place?
Do you reckon I wore my West Coast jumper in at Collingwood first training session?
You've given me an answer, I think.
Of course I am. Once you take these jobs on, That is 100% on, not 95.7 or 99.8. I don't get where you're coming from. I'm a professional footballer, coach. You walk in the door, you are 100% switched on for that side to succeed, the club to succeed, 100 mile an hour. No dragging anything behind you.